The origin of America. Thousands of years ago, the land we now call America was already there. It was full of forests, rivers, mountains, and animals. Long before any Europeans came, many people already lived there. These were the Native Americans. They had their own tribes, languages, clothes, homes, and ways of life. They hunted animals, grew crops like corn and beans, and lived in peace with nature. There were many different tribes, like the Iroquois in the east and the Navajo in the west. In 1492, a man named Christopher Columbus came from Spain. He wanted to find a new way to go to India for trade. He sailed across the ocean and reached land. He thought he had reached India, but he was wrong. He had reached the Caribbean islands near America. This was the first time Europeans came to this part of the world. Soon, more explorers from Spain, France, and England followed him. Europe was crowded, and people wanted more land, food, and gold. When they heard about the new land, many came by ships. They started building small towns called colonies. Some came to trade, some to find gold, and some to find freedom from kings and churches in Europe. Spain took land in the south. France went to the north. England built colonies along the east coast. In 1607, the English started Jamestown in Virginia. In 1620, another group, the Pilgrims, started Plymouth in Massachusetts. Soon, the English colonies grew bigger. More people came from Europe. They built farms, towns, and businesses. By the 1700s, there were 13 English colonies on the East Coast. The colonies were ruled by the King of England, but the people wanted more control over their lives. England made many new tax laws. The people in the colonies had to pay taxes on tea, paper, and more. But they had no voice in the English government. This made the colonists very angry. They said, "No taxation without representation." In 1773, a group called the Sons of Liberty threw boxes of tea into the sea. This event was called the Boston Tea Party. It made the British government very angry. In 1775, the first shots were fired between British soldiers and American fighters in Lexington and Concord. This started the American Revolution. In 1776, the leaders of the colonies wrote the Declaration of Independence, led by Thomas Jefferson. It said, "We are free from Britain." The war lasted 8 years. Many battles were fought. One famous leader was George Washington, who led the American army. In 1783, the war finally ended. The colonies won. Britain agreed to let them go. A new country was born, the United States of America. After the war, the new country needed rules. In 1787, leaders met and wrote the Constitution. It gave power to the people and created a government with 3 parts. In 1789, George Washington became the first president of the United States. The new country started to grow. In 1703, the U.S. bought a big piece of land from France. This was called the Louisiana Purchase. Explorers like Lewis and Clark traveled west to see what was there. More people moved west to find land and work. The idea of growing west was called Manifest Destiny, the belief that America should stretch from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. As the country grew, there was a big problem: slavery. In the South, many people used African slaves to work on farms, but in the North, people wanted slavery to end. In 1861, the South broke away and made their own country called the Confederate States of America. This started the Civil War. After 4 years of fighting, the North won. President Abraham Lincoln said slavery was over. The country became one again. After the Civil War, the country tried to rebuild. This time was called Reconstruction. Black people were now free, but many still faced unfair treatment. Slowly, cities grew and factories opened. Many people from Europe also moved to America for jobs and a better life. By the 1900s, America had become very strong in farming, business, and the military. The US joined World War I in 1917 and helped win it. Later, in 1941, the US joined World War II after Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. After fighting hard, the US and its allies won again in 1945. This made the US one of the most powerful countries in the world. After the wars, America became very rich and modern. People bought cars, TVs, and homes, but there were still problems, especially with race. In the 1950s and 1960s, Martin Luther King Jr. and others led the civil rights movement. They wanted equal rights for black people and all races. More laws were passed to protect everyone. In 1969, America did something great, sent a man to the moon. Neil Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon. In the 2000s, America faced new problems like terrorism, war, and economic trouble. In 2001, the 9/11 attacks shocked the country. After that, the US went to war in Afghanistan and Iraq. In 2008, Barack Obama became the first black president of the United States. Today, America is still a land of opportunity. It has people from all over the world. It is full of new ideas, businesses, science, and dreams. Conclusion: a nation built over time. The story of America is long. It started with Native Americans, grew with explorers, fought for freedom, and changed many times. It had hard times like slavery, wars, and injustice, but also proud moments like independence, rights for all, and space travel. Today, America stands as a place where people hope to build a better life. The story continues with every new generation.